So today, we're going to trace the path of an engineer. But this isn't your typical success story. We're going to follow a really unique paper trail of ambition, complex theory, and some serious bureaucratic hurdles to understand what it truly takes to build a career from the ground up.
You know, every career, especially in a field as precise as engineering, starts with a plan, right? A blueprint. It's a map of the courses you need to take, the skills you have to master, and a vision for the future. It's supposed to be clean, logical, and it promises a clear path forward.
But what happens when that path is, well, anything but clear? What does it really take to turn that neat, orderly blueprint into a functioning, real-world career, especially when the system itself seems to have a few short circuits? That's the real story we're diving into here.
All right, first things first, you got to build your toolkit. Before an engineer can solve a single problem, they have to assemble this huge arsenal of foundational knowledge. Think of it like you're gathering every single tiny component you need to build an incredibly complex circuit completely from scratch. Our journey begins with this specific blueprint, the National Diploma in Electrical Engineering in South Africa. It's a really rigorous 360-credit qualification, part of what's called the National Qualifications Framework, or NQF. This is the official, by-the-book path, the institutional framework that's supposed to turn a student into a qualified engineer.
But you know, it's not just about ticking boxes and passing courses. To really be an engineer, you have to become fluent in a whole new language. And that language? It's calculus. Derivatives, integrals, these aren't just some abstract squiggles on a page. They are the fundamental tools you use to describe how the entire physical world actually works.
And this is what that language actually looks like in practice. These formulas, they let an engineer calculate total energy use over time, the rate of current change, voltage in a magnetic field. Basically, they give you the power to predict and control electricity. This is the super deep theoretical bedrock that everything else is built on. It's incredibly dense and, man, it requires absolute precision. Okay, so you've got the theory down, but what's the point, right? What's it all for? Well, the next step is to take all that abstract knowledge and start drawing up blueprints for the real world, designing systems that solve actual human problems.
And this is not some one-size-fits-all deal. You can see the ambition here branching out into these really specialized fields. We see a clear intention to apply this knowledge everywhere, from the electrical systems on ships to solar energy, and even into the super-critical area of power system protection and workplace safety.
And this is where it all comes together. This quote from a project proposal isn't just some abstract academic exercise. It's a real plan to bring power to underserved communities. This is where all those mathematical formulas and circuit diagrams finally connect to something tangible, something that can literally change people's lives. And then a fault appears. But not in a circuit diagram. Oh no, this one's in the system itself. This is the moment that the clear path laid out by the blueprint hits an unexpected and incredibly frustrating obstacle. It's like a short circuit right in the middle of the bureaucracy. It all kicks off with this cold, jarring, sterile phrase from an official letter. Alleged examination irregularity. And just like that, the journey of learning and building, it just grinds to a halt, now stuck in a process of investigation and suspicion. And this timeline, wow, it really shows you just how maddening this whole process was. An exam is taken way back in November 2021. A few months later, the results are just poof, invalidated. Then, nothing. Crickets. A whole year goes by, a full year, before a notice of suspension is issued. And finally, in February 2024, we're talking more than 2 years after the exam, comes the blunt confirmation that a certificate wasn't awarded. This isn't a learning process, it's a bureaucratic black hole. And the communication during all this time? Well, this quote from an automated email really says it all, doesn't it? A systemic pause, an impersonal apology, and a request for understanding while a career is just stalled out. The very system designed to validate knowledge had become the biggest barrier to moving forward. I mean, look at this. It just lays it all out plain and simple. On the left, you've got the promise, what you'd expect from an educational system. On the right, the documented reality of this journey. The gap between expectation and reality isn't just a gap, it's a canyon measured in years of total uncertainty. So what do you do when the main circuit is just completely broken? When the official path is blocked, you don't just stop, you reroute the power, you innovate.
And this is where the story completely shifts from one about institutional failure to one about incredible individual drive. While waiting for one system to get its act together, he was already building a totally different one. This certificate, it's not just for another class. It's for a course on how to set up your own company. That's a huge proactive pivot from just being an engineer to becoming an entrepreneur. And the learning didn't stop there. Just look at this. This shows a relentless, self-directed pursuit of knowledge. While the official path was stalled, he was out there mastering new skills, from data engineering on Microsoft Azure to cybersecurity with ISC2, which is, a huge name in that field. It's like when one door slams shut, he just kicked down a dozen others through sheer force of will. And if you need just one single metric for that dedication, here it is, 463,070. And no, that's not a salary. That's the number of Microsoft training points he accumulated. It's a powerful, undeniable testament to the effort and the hours invested, completely independent of any formal institution. And that brings us to our conclusion. But the story isn't really over, is it? A career isn't some destination you just arrive at. It's a circuit you are constantly building, modifying, and, sometimes repairing. Remember this image? We started with this idea of a clean, simple blueprint. But now, when we look at it, we see it totally differently, right? A real career blueprint is never actually finished. It's messy. It's constantly being revised, with new lines drawn in to bypass obstacles. It's really a map of adaptation and resilience. So to sum this whole journey up, the theoretical toolkit was mastered. A massive systemic fault blocked the official path. The response was a relentless campaign of self-education. And the result is a powerful, functional circuit that is, still officially incomplete. It's a career built not just on knowledge, but on perseverance. And that leaves us with one last really important question. After seeing a journey like this, in a world that so often relies on official stamps of approval, how should we measure the true value of knowledge? How do we quantify the power of that kind of drive and unwavering perseverance against all the odds? It's a question worth thinking about.